What's up guys, DLBDAILY here, and today we're training legs. Today is a quad focus leg day. This leg day is coming from my DLBDAILY, DLBDAILY.com website where I train you guys. And right now, currently, we are 3 days in. So this is actually day 3 of week 1 of the DLBDAILY 8-week transformation challenge. So if you want to join in on the challenge and still win weekly prizes, you can still enter. This is only day 3, so you're not that far behind. So head on over. Link is down there Click that link below, DLBDAILY.com, and come join us. Come transform this 2021 into the best year yet. So without further ado, let's hit these quads. Alright, we are starting off on the leg extension. I'm treating this more like a warm-up. So you have one set, 100 reps. 100. Now, the only difference is you're going a lot lighter. Obviously, I don't think you're going to do all 100 in a row. I don't want it that light that you can do all 100. But you should be able to do at least 40 to 50. And the only difference is every 10 reps, I want you changing the position of your feet. So the first 10, maybe we start off straight forward. So your toes are straight forward. Okay, this is gonna emphasize pretty much the whole, this is just like a regular extension, not focusing on any certain area. We're just focusing on our entire quad. So our first 10 reps, we're gonna keep them straight. So again, nice and slow, controlled. We're not going as fast as possible. Again, I'm not expecting you to get all 100 reps. You're gonna rest when you need to. When you get past that first 10, you're then gonna switch your foot placement. So we're gonna go from straight to in to out, and then you'll go back to the beginning. So after 30 reps, we'll go back to straight, in, out. So when we go in, you're focusing on that outer sweep of your quad. So we're hitting right here and then right here. I feel it mostly on the outer sweep. So we'll do 10 with our toes in. So you might even what I like to do is I straighten it, and then at the top, I start moving them in, and then straighten on the way back down. Straight, and then kink them in. The next 10, our toes are gonna be faced out. So we're hitting that inside of our quad, this nice big meaty part. So right here, toes out. Again, I straighten, and then when I come up, I'm gonna kink them out. So straight, hitting our full quad, in, hitting that outer sweep, and then out, we're gonna hit that inner quad. So every 10 reps, you're switching the placement of your feet until you get 100. And then again, rest when you need. This is just a rest pause, so take like 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then hit some more. Again, go light. This is just a warm-up. We're gonna exhaust our quads, and then we're gonna get to some squats. Alright, now that our quads already feel kind of like jello, we're now gonna squat. So with this squat, we're gonna do heels elevated. Now I got this fancy dancy little wedge from Prime. Obviously you can just put plates underneath your heels. Maybe like the 5s or 10s should be fine. You just need a little elevation. So that elevation is gonna help you get a little bit deeper in your squat. So if you have any kind of ankle mobility, I do. I lack that area, so this helps me get a little bit lower. We're also going to do high bar. If you already do high bar, this will be fine for you. For me, I am absolutely terrible with high bar. It's basically like a front squat for me, but it is on my back. So the difference in position from low bar to high bar. So low bar is gonna sit very low on your back. So it's at the bottom of my upper trap. So it's behind my shoulders, kind of sits right in here. High bar is gonna be up here a little bit more. Sometimes you can even have it rest above your shoulders. So with a high bar, the reason we're doing a high bar is because it's quad focused. So a high bar means you gotta keep your chest up the whole time. So with a low bar, the bar sitting a little bit lower, you end up and you have more of like a lean forward. And you're using a little bit more of your hamstrings and glutes. It's generally like why I squat that way, because one, I wanna use more of my hamstrings and glutes because I'm quad dominant for the most part. And I'm also stronger in that position because my hamstrings and glutes are way stronger. They just are. My butt's pretty strong. So I'm going to definitely lighten up my load here because it is the high bar. We're gonna be focusing mostly on quads, and you're gonna keep more of an upright position instead of like a low bar where you have like a lean forward. And then high bar, I even need this to demonstrate because I really lack mobility in my ankles. High bar, your chest is going to be up and you're keeping that upright position until you get to the bottom. So it's from here instead of here. That's the difference. And then you're just putting a little bit more emphasis on your quads. So high bar, feet elevate or heel elevated squats. We're doing just 3 sets, 8 to 10. I'd give you a percentage, but I'm gonna try to start around 65 to 70% because I'm not as strong with this than I am a low bar. So if you already squat a high bar, you could maybe start counting your sets around like 70 to 75%. I am very weak in this type of squat, so I'm gonna start a little bit lower. But basically, I want you kind of failing around that 8 rep range. You don't have to actually fail, but I want you getting close to failure. So you should be like kind of struggling for that last one. You might be able to get one more. So that's called a RPE scale. So RPE is gonna be about an 8 or a 9, if you guys get that. So position yourself, high bar. The bar is gonna sit nice and high, and we're gonna focus on keeping our chest up and getting that butt as low as you possibly can. I do about a shoulder width stance, toes slightly pointed out, and then you're coming down. Keep that chest up nice and tall, and then back up. You don't have to pause that whole time because we're gonna get to some pause squats in a little bit. So down, up. That's a good warm up. So it's probably going to take you 2, maybe 3 warm up sets to get to your working set. And then your working sets, you're doing 3 sets, 8 to 10. I'm out of breath. Whew. All right, we are now staying exactly where we're at. However, we're going to add these wonderful little pins here. And what we're going to be doing is called an Anderson squat, which is also in layman's terms, a dead stop pin squat. So I'm actually gonna stick with the high bar feet, heels elevated, just to keep that focus on my quads. If you wanna change it up and you want to add a little bit more glute and hamstring, you can switch to a low bar, maybe even get rid of the heels. That's completely up to you. I'm gonna actually stick to high bar, heels elevated. Now we are adding a complete dead stop. So the benefit of doing an Anderson squat or a dead stop is it takes that stretch reflex. So anytime you come down, and I'm actually wearing knee sleeves, which actually help with the stretch reflex, but these ones are very flexible, so they're not giving me like a bounce out. But anytime you come down, whether it's a bench press or even like a deadlift, you have like a stretch reflex. So as I come down and I come up, you're getting a little bit of that bounce out of your knees. So this is gonna take that little stretch reflex, that little bounce that gives you at the hardest part of that movement, that little upwards. So we're taking that completely out. So when we get the bar on our back, we're gonna come all the way down and actually rest it on these pins. So it's gonna stop completely. You're gonna take like 1 or 2 seconds and then you're gonna push out of it. So you'll see power lifters use this. So if you do any type of pause squats or box squats, it's all the same thing, is taking the momentum out of the exercise so that you're working on the hardest part. So you're working at your the weakest part of the movement, which is getting out of the hole. So if you get really strong at the weakest part of the movement, then you're gonna get stronger. So generally, this is gonna be the weakest part of your movement when you're all the way down to the ground and you have to push right back up. So we're gonna get really strong in getting out of the hole. We're also gonna work on a slow eccentric. So our tempo is gonna be a 3, 2, 1, 0. 3 is the lowering phase or the eccentric phase. So we're gonna do a 3-second down, 3, 2, 1, and then the bar should be on the pins. Take 1 or 2 seconds, stay tight. I don't want anyone like repositioning yourself. You stay tight, keep those lats locked in, and then you're gonna push up for a 1-second count. So it's 3 seconds down, 2-second pause at a dead stop, and a 1-second up. And then you'll go right back into it. As far as the placement of your pins, so for me, here's up here is my hip bone. So we're gonna be down here, kind of in line with my butt. But you can, if you have a partner, just squat down without, you don't need any weight, just put the bar on your back, squat down, and then you can kind of line up or have your partner line up and then put these pins so that you're either at 90 or a little bit below 90. If you're up here, if I had it up like 1 or 2 notches, I'm not at 90. So make sure you're hitting at least 90 or go a little bit below parallel. So we're doing 3 sets of this, 6 to 8 reps. You can generally start probably at whatever you ended with those regular squats. We're gonna start with that weight, and then you can either go up from there, or if that's way too heavy, then go down from there. Because we are we are adding a pause, so there's more time under tension. So start very moderately, very lightly, get used to the movement, and let's get strong from the bottom up. All right, hitting some more squats, hitting some more squats that are gonna be more quad focused. And we're also gonna be adding another pause. So we're gonna be doing a dumbbell. If you'd like to use a barbell, you can. I'm gonna do dumbbell words. Dumbbell box squat. Where you're, whoa! All right, I'm gonna be doing dumbbell box squat. So you need to find a box. So boxes, obviously, we're all different heights. So basically where I have my box is gonna be right where my calf is. So again, I have to use the smallest box, and then I'm adding some height to it because the smallest box was way too high. So again, you wanna be parallel or below parallel. So that hip crease should be about even with your knee. So here's your hip crease. So if your box is up here, that's not low enough. And then if it's all the way down here, you're a little bit too low, if that's even a thing. I'd rather you go lower than higher. So go lower than higher, but it shouldn't feel awkward. So I want you parallel or slightly below parallel. Now, holding the dumbbells at our sides, this is very similar to a trap bar dead. So if you don't have trap bar, this is what I always suggest. So we're gonna be just holding dumbbells at our side, position your feet a little bit out in front. I'm going about shoulder width, toes slightly pointed out, and then you're gonna come down, and I don't want you rocking and then rocking back up. That is too much momentum. So this is basically so that we are touching parallel every single time. So if you don't touch the box, that means you didn't go low enough. And then if you can't get back up, maybe you went too low. So holding dumbbells here, come down, and then keeping that position. So I don't want you to sit back and then rock up because you're just adding too much momentum. So a lot of times I like to start from the bottom so I know where to put my feet, because sometimes you can put your feet too close. So you can start from the bottom and then we're gonna stand up from there. So then you'll come back down, touch, and up. It's actually easier with dumbbells, believe it or not. So down, touch that box, and then back up. Down, touch that box, and then back up. So again, working on that slow deceleration, slow on the eccentric. 3, 2, 1. Pause for a second, basically to get no momentum back out. Because we have our dumbbells, your feet might be a little bit more narrow than they usually are. That's no problem, because that will hit our quads a little bit more. We're doing 12 reps there, and then we're gonna do some of our favorite stuff, some plyos, but we're gonna add some weight to it. So I'm doing kettlebell squat jumps. So holding one kettlebell, sumo stance, you're coming all the way down and then exploding up. So when you land, make sure you land with a soft knee. So you can't land like that. It's not gonna feel good. You should already be landing in like a half a squat. So squat down, sumo-ish stance. It doesn't have to be super wide, just wider than your shoulders, feet out or toes out, touch, and then explode up. And then you're already landing in your squat and then back up. Try to keep your chest up the whole time instead of being like this. So chest up, face forward. 12 to 15 there. Catch your breath, and then back to the top. All right, next up, we have short step lunges. Now, obviously, the emphasis will be on quads. The longer your step is, so if I step out real wide, I'm feeling it all in my hamstrings and butt. Yeah, I'll feel it in my quads, but this is overall more hamstrings and glutes when you come up. So we're gonna shorten that step, and we're gonna just step basically right in front, and then your knee should be almost just behind your, what is that? My heel. Wait, what is that? So nice and upright, keep your chest up, and nice short steps. So if you need to add a little pause in between here, the closer you can get that knee to that other foot, the better. But I don't want you over exaggerating. Not that it's like bad, but if we keep our chest up, we're not gonna over exaggerate that knee in front of our toe. Because a lot of times when you do that, it's not a bad thing, but my heel is up, and I don't want my heel. I want my heel to be nice and flat. So if you get your tibia to make a nice straight line, so maybe come down, see where your knee hits, and that's pretty much where I want you guys stepping. So just a little bit in front. Some might be a little bit longer than others, but try to keep them nice and short together. We're going 12 to 15 reps on each leg. So that means you're doing 24 to 30 actual full steps all out. So last, sort of last, I do have a little surprise for you guys at the very, very end. But this is the last of the main workout, which is a little quad superset. So we're coming back to the leg extension and we're gonna add some weight because we're only gonna do 10 to 12 reps here. So we're gonna pre-exhaust our quads. And again, you can choose which way. If you want to overemphasize that outer lateral muscle, then toes in. If you wanna hit that inside, the medial, then toes out. If you don't know, feet straight, hit them all. So it's up to you. You can even change them each set. So straight, in, out, it's not a problem. I usually just, for this one, because we're going a little bit heavier, I will either go straight or a little bit in because I like to work on the outer sweep of my legs. So if we're going heavy, I want you failing around 10 to 12 reps. So I don't want you to be able to do 13. So if you can get 13 or 14, you need to up that weight. This is our last set, so you're going heavy and hard for those 10 to 12 reps because I want you to get to the next exercise and hardly be able to do, and you might even have to just do body weight. I don't even know. So I would like you to go really hard on this to make the next exercise harder. So again, focusing on nice controlled reps. I don't want to see any bouncing out of the top. So if you're going like this and the weight actually like leaves your shins, you need more weight on there, little sister and brother, okay? Add a little bit of weight. It shouldn't be flying up. You should also keep it nice and controlled. Something like a leg extension, I usually do the same tempo up and same tempo down. It's usually like a 2 count up, maybe pause for 1 second, 2 second down. So 1, 2 up, pause, 1, 2 down. Down's a little bit longer. So 1, 2 up, and then maybe 1, 2, 3 on the way down. So heavy and hard, keep it nice and controlled. So we're going 10 to 12 here. If you want to add a little bit of toe action to hit different parts of your quad, you can do that. You can go in or out. So 10 to 12 leg extension, and then we're immediately going and just grab a dumbbell from the rack, something heavy. I'm also going to elevate my heels for this to get that further range of motion. So this just, anytime I do any kind of front squat to help with my ankle mobility and to also allow my knees to go in front of my toes, this is where it's okay. I want you to do it. Keep our chest nice and tall. So we're doing a goblet squat, heels elevated, 10 to 12 reps. So whatever you do there, hard as heck. Hopefully you don't need to grab a whole lot of weight for this because we're pre-exhausting our quads with an isolation movement, and then we're coming here to more of a compound movement. So a goblet squat, you can use a kettlebell or a dumbbell and just flip it up, and it basically just stays right under your chin. This forward weight is just like a front squat. The whole purpose of a front squat is you have to work against it. So that weight's gonna wanna pull you forward. So here, you gotta use your lower back, get your chest up, and then you wanna stay in that upright position. And then once you stay in that upright position, we're gonna be training our quads a little bit more here, staying upright, instead of maybe having something on our back where you're leaning forward. Just that placement of where you lean, right here is all hamstrings and glutes. Here, I feel all in the front of my quads. So goblet squat, get that weight up, something very challenging for 10 to 12 reps. And I want you going as low as you possibly can. So I'm basically getting my calves on the back of my hamstrings and then up. So again, nice and slow down, maybe a 2 to 3 second up. So 1, 2, 3, and up. We don't need to hold a pause or anything. We did enough of those. And then keep a nice upright position. If you find yourself leaning forward, lighten the weight a little bit, and really focus on those quads. 4 sets, 10 to 12 each, heavy enough where that you can barely do rep 12. It's a struggle. Almost done, guys. Alrighty. If you got anything left in the tank, this is where we're gonna let it all out. We got a quad finisher. All you need is a bike. Now, if you don't have an assault bike, you can just get a regular spin bike, but I would suggest doing hills instead. So you'll be up out of your seat. On something like an assault bike, we're gonna be sitting that whole entire time. Biggest thing here is getting the correct placement of how far your seat should be up. So generally it should be like right by your hip, but get on as you sit. You don't want to be like completely straight-legged. There should be a slight bend in your knee, and then as long as you're close, make sure you test it out beforehand. But we're doing a 4-minute Tabata round. Now we're not going to do any other exercise but this. We're going 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. I don't want you doing anything in that 10 seconds because you should be out of breath. I want you going as hard as possible for that 20 seconds. Stop your legs completely, catch your breath, because we have 8 rounds of this. So 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 4 minutes. So that means you're doing 8 total rounds of effort. And then you're done. I don't think I have anything else to explain. This is the movement we're doing. I want your quads to explode by the 6th round. And then you have 2 more rounds after that. And then you're done. And then you can go eat. So, let's go. Oh my God, guys. Oh, I didn't mention, I probably should pace myself a little bit at the beginning. Oh my goodness. 8 rounds of that is no joke. If you can walk out of the gym, you did not go hard enough. Oh my God. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this slow death of me, which will now be your death. So if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe so you never miss another video, and head on over to DanaLynnBailey.com. Oh my God, I can't breathe. Head on over to DanaLynnBailey.com if you want to join our 8-week transformation. Come join now. We're only 3 days in. You can join, and we're doing weekly prizes every week. So go there, find out all the details, and I'm gonna die. See you guys next time.